real raw.
Blessings everyone, this is Chris Kendall from therawadvantage.com, registered holistic nutritionist, raw food lifestyle coach. I'm out here at the Woodstock Fruit Festival 2015 with John Kohler.
Yo, what's up?
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man.
Super stoked to have you on the show here. We're gonna do a quick little interview on a really hot topic, something that I think is really interesting and could be insightful. You know, for a while I've been including some barley grass juice powder in my diet. I've for a long time had lots of greens, green juices. I even did a video where I said unlimited green juice and had, you know, getting grass clippings from my backyard that were not fertilized and stuff, and then blended it. You might want to check that video here, unlimited green juice, John's favorite. And said, you know, you can get green juice from your own grass, you know, as long as you're not spraying pesticides and stuff on it. But people always asked me, like, what's better, you know, green juice or no, you can't have juice, that's bad. You should only eat whole greens, or green powders are the answer. They're the best thing in the entire world. Everyone needs them, you know. So I wanted to talk to you. Do you know John Kohler? Huh? John, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So yeah, I mean, my name is John Kohler. I've been into a plant-based raw food diet since 1995, and I have a very popular YouTube channel entitled Growing Your Greens, because I'm really into the greens. I have over 1,000 videos on how you guys could grow your own greens as well as fruits at home and have the highest quality greens, not the crap you buy at the grocery store.
Exactly. You're going to want to check that out, because you'll learn how to make stuff like in small spaces, big spaces, backyards,
in your apartment, in your condo,
anywhere you want. Tons of information. So John, the question for you is green powder, green juices, whole greens. Benefits, drawbacks.
Well, let's start with the easy one first, right? The whole greens. I love whole greens, and the main thing about the whole greens is you want to get a high quality greens. Like a lot of the greens you might be buying at the grocery store, whether they're conventional or organic, have been picked, cut, shipped, and they get to you, could be a week later after they've been cut. Once something has been cut, including your foreskin, you know, the quality goes down of sex. I mean,
yes,
or
everything.
The nutrients of everything. Bad. So you want to try to get it as fresh as possible. So, you know, even better than buying stuff at the store, find a clean area. Maybe that's your yard. Maybe that's, you know, out in a park that they don't spray. You know, maybe that's wherever you could find it, and just harvest some weeds. I mean, here we got some plantain greens. So I would rather eat plantain greens that I pick for free. That's, you know, organic, not sprayed, of course, than like buying kale at the store, because these are more nutritious, right? So wild greens, I'm really up on wild greens. But even better than that, you could actually grow your own greens, because when you harvest wild greens, you don't know what was sprayed here, what kind of nutrients are in the soil. It could be nutrient devoid soil. But at home, you could actually add compost, add rock dust minerals, add worm castings, so you could really have the highest quality greens that, you know, nature or actually at the store are not going to provide you. Now the problem with greens are the fibers. I mean, if you eat a lot of fruits like Chris and I, like, you don't got to really do anything to fruits. You can just chew them up. You could gum them even if you don't got teeth. That's gonna be fine. But, you know, we're not really built like a cow to digest the greens. So what we need to do really is use our teeth. That's why nature, God, whomever you believe in, gave us teeth to chew it up, to masticate it into a mush, so that actually no appliance, no blender, no juicer is even necessary. But the problem today is people are in a rush to do everything, to pick up their kids from school, to get a hard-on, to, I don't know.
Sissies, right?
Yeah, do whatever, man, and they don't want to chew their stuff. I mean, why do we give babies baby food? It's carrots, we give carrot baby food to babies, and it's like totally mush.
Yeah.
It's not solid piece of carrots. That's because babies don't have teeth. We got teeth, so we need to turn food into mush. So if you are going to eat greens, I do encourage you, whether that's in a salad or whatever, chew it into a mush. And if you don't want the fiber, you know, which is roughage, which is good for us, spit it out, but swallow all the juice. So like if you got grass in your yard and, John, I don't got a wheatgrass juicer, I can't eat the grass in my yard. Yes, you can. Just pick up the blades of grass, put it in your mouth, chew it until all the juice comes out, then spit it out. And you're gonna get good digestion out of it, right? So no juice required. So that's the main thing with greens. Now the thing that happens is sometimes you can't get fresh greens. Maybe you live in Nova Scotia, Canada, or, you know, Saskatoon,
eh?
or wherever it is, man. And it's snow outside in the winter, and yeah, there might be some greens underneath the snow that's barely staying alive.
Kind of brown.
Yeah, or you could like grow them inside. You grow microgreens actually, which are 4 to 40 times more nutritious than the large greens, which I would encourage everybody in a cold climate and even in hot climates in the summer to grow the microgreens. They're the new and up and comers, you know, in nutritional powerhouses that everybody could grow. And those are, because they're baby greens, like super baby greens, like ultra baby greens, they're so tender and easy to digest, you know, just chewing them up, they almost melt in your mouth.
So just a quick side tangent on there. What's the difference between sprouts, just general sprouts, and microgreens?
So sprouts only grow, are really young. So like within, 1 to 5 days, they're really young. So like the nutrients in the sprouts for the most part are coming out of the seed that they're grown in. So that's why it's important to get organic seeds and really nutritious seeds and good seed stock, right? Now with the microgreens, they grow a little bit longer, they get a little bit more greener. So you need to use lights generally on the microgreens. You don't need to use, and they grow, the roots grow out longer. They just about start, but not quite, to start absorbing nutrients from, the soil medium you're growing in, but then you cut them off. So they're taller, they're a little bit, I like them, they're tastier, and different seeds will grow into sprouts or microgreens better or worse than others. For example, like alfalfa is really good to grow into sprouts, whereas like broccoli, you can make broccoli sprouts, or you could actually make broccoli microgreens. Cool. Or like you could have like arugula microgreens or basil microgreens, So, I mean, you could do both really, but I really like the microgreens more because they're a little bit more developed, and because they're growing for a longer period of time, there's more uptake of nutrients in there than just the sprouts, in my opinion. Of course, both of them are really rich in life force, prana, chi, biophotons, whatever you want to call them, which are really important, for us to have nature's energy from the sun.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the whole greens, microgreens. Just gonna check 1 second. Make sure we're nowhere near. Yeah, we're 6 minutes. We got 5 more minutes or 4 more minutes before it turns off.
All right. Okay.
And then I can restart it. So
yeah.
I don't know. I'll edit this. Okay, so we got the whole greens and microgreen sprouts. Now, next we got juices. If you're going to use a juicer, how does that compare? What do you think are the pluses and minuses, maybe comparing the juiced greens compared to the whole greens and microgreens?
Sure. So, I want to just leave microgreens out of it. I want to encourage you guys, if you do grow microgreens, like it's pretty much a waste to juice them, in my opinion. They don't have a lot of juice in there. You're going to be wasting a lot. It'd be better just to eat them and chew them up into a mush and swallow them. You're going to get the best digestion that way. And we should be using our teeth, our jaws, our muscles. When you're chewing, you're flexing your facial muscles, so you're going to stay young looking in your face longer than people that don't use them.
Good for your teeth too,
good for your teeth too. And you're mixing up the greens and all the minerals in there. It's going to help remineralize your teeth if you're eating mineral-rich food. So, I do like juicing, and there are pros and cons to everything, and I hate when people say, juicing's good, juicing's bad. It's a gradient scale. I would always rather people do any kind of juice, including fruit juice, than a soda, than a coffee. But, it might be better to eat whole fruits instead of drinking fruit juice. And at the same time, I believe it's probably better to juice, mature vegetables than eat them in most cases, because people simply are not chewing well. And now when you juice things, you lose only some of the fiber. People think you lose all the fiber because it comes out in the pulp. And yes, the insoluble fiber comes out in the pulp, the majority, and depending on the juicer, some will actually put it back into the juice. But all the soluble fiber, which is water soluble, is still in the juice. So you're still getting some of the fiber. And I'm going to have a video soon where I actually have whatever tables, and I show the soluble and insoluble fiber and how much you're getting in juice versus not, which will be pretty cool.
Very cool. Plus you get way more, right?
Yeah, and you get way more soluble fiber. So yeah, we need both kinds of fiber. I'm not going to say only drink juice your whole life. We need to eat solid foods. I like to drink juice like once a day and then eat, a big salad and eat some fruits too, And it's not about having this or having that. How about having everything, right? Yeah. Except I only have one girlfriend.
So, exactly.
So yeah, the juicing will basically allow you to, increase the quantity of kale you could eat. I'm not fully raw, Christina, and I don't know about you. You don't look like her either. And I can't sit there and eat like 7 bunches of kale, and I would just find that boring. And I don't know if she chews well enough because I haven't seen her poop to find out.
Oh my, hot topic.
But
next video, Christina's poop.
But I could juice 7 bunches of kale and get the juice out of it. Now it might taste pretty nasty unless it's out of my garden, and I mix it with maybe some cucumbers and some celery or something like that. And then I'll get more nutrition out of the food. And one of the things, my big area of study lately is the nutritional quality of the food and how it's just declined over the years. I mean, my talk yesterday, Chris, was on the nutritional decline of food, and I had a slide for kale actually. And kale from like the 1950s to 1999, some of the things were like 20% less of certain minerals. Some nutrients in kale and every other food virtually that's being grown by the industrialized food system. And yes, even if you're getting organic, that may be better in some cases than conventional, but not always. It's still, the nutrients are depleted and are not what they would have been like, just 50 years ago before we got into chemical farming and destroying the soil, stripping the minerals out of the soil and actually killing all the microbes and the microbiome in the soil, which are crucial for plant health, and that transfers to human health,
yeah,
to our
sure,
health.
100%.
And so that's why, I think you really got to grow your own food to have the highest quality. But even if you're not getting the highest quality, you're not growing your own. That's why juicing is really important.
Yeah.
So, I guess there's a saying, it takes 4 apples of today to equal 1 apple of 1950.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying juice 4 apples, but, eat 4 apples, juice more kale to make up for the lesser nutritious kale than we have today.
Would you say it's fair to say that in general the main nutrients that are less today are mineral based rather than vitamin based? Like people are having a harder time getting adequate minerals from today's produce compared to yesteryears?
Yeah, so I would say for sure, Chris, like one of the main things is the trace minerals, which is critical in standard conventional farming. They worry about 3 main minerals, NPK, and if they're really into it, they might add up to 16 to 18 minerals total. But if you ever look at the periodic element of the tables or periodic table of the elements or whatever, there's like over 100 different minerals now. Some of them are gaseous and all this kind of stuff, and you can't really add those to your garden. But I add 70 to 90 different minerals to the plants that I'm growing instead of just 3 or instead of just 18. So my plants are gonna absorb those, and then I'm gonna get those in me through my plants instead of taking an inorganic mineral. That like in salt or something that has actually a lot of sodium and a lot less of the other stuff, which actually I don't recommend. Or taking a zinc or A to Z to zinc supplement, a Centrum or something, as some supplement. I want to get nutrients from my food, and that's how we would have done it 200 years ago before we messed up the earth. And so that's kind of what I'm doing today.
Awesome. Okay, so now we've covered the whole foods, the microgreens, and some juices. Now we're looking at juice powders, say the barley grass, the alfalfa, the wheatgrass juice powder, all those things. What do you think are some of the pros of that and some of the potential cons of that?
So the pros are that they're very convenient, right? And if you're not
traveling,
if you're I have green powders. Actually, I have a backpack with all these cool pockets, and one of the pockets is dedicated to my green powder pocket.
Yep.
So whenever I go to trade shows and get free samples, because I try not to buy the stuff whenever I can, I fill it up and I just grab a whole bunch of stuff and just keep filling that pocket. And when I'm traveling on the airplane, I don't have fresh greens, I'll like open one of those. Or actually here just today I had some spirulina because I was like, oh, I need some more greens because we're not getting a lot of greens here for my liking. And I just had some spirulina, greens. I'm also growing spirulina at home now. That's really cool.
That's super
yeah,
cool.
so like another green. Yeah,
Nice.
It's going to be uploaded pretty soon.
I'm going to have some links below, by the way. I'm going to get a few of John's favorite videos on the microgreens and maybe the spirulina, maybe one other hot topic, and we'll put it in the below. So you'll want to check out all the stuff on John's channel there.
Cool. But yeah, the green powders are very convenient. And on the flip side, one of the things I don't like, a con, is that actually they don't have any water content.
Yep.
The water contents pull out, and you don't know at what temperature they were processed at. Were they processed under 118 degrees? Do they have more enzymes? Was it totally heat processed? You just don't know. And more importantly, how were the vegetables or the wheatgrass or whatever grown? Was it grown in nutritious soil, or was it grown in conventional organic soil where things just aren't as nutritious as they were? And does it have life force? Well, I'm pretty confident things in packages, bottles, and jars that have been dehydrated have little life force. And one of the things I really like to eat for is the life force energy. That's what keeps you bright, that's what keeps you glowing, that's what keeps you shining, and that's what's all in live foods, that we eat fresh. But I think the green powders can serve their place, especially in the form of getting some extra minerals. And besides just the minerals, Chris, that are missing in the food, some of the more important things that I'm learning as I go on in raw foods are the phytochemicals and phytonutrients. Like everybody knows that in tomatoes there's this red pigment called lycopene, which is very healing and good for a lot of different ailments and whatnot. But there's over 400 compounds in tomatoes, and not all of them have been studied. These are compounds that actually the tomato plant makes, not for us to eat, but for the tomato plant to protect itself from bugs, disease, fungus, molds, all this kind of stuff. And if the plant doesn't have all the nutrition in the soil, it's not going to create all these secondary plant metabolites that then we can eat and that will benefit our health.
Wow, that's awesome.
And these are the new cancer-fighting, disease protectants, and anti-aging, nutrients of the future, in my opinion.
Cool. Just gonna check one more time. I'm sure we're good, but I just want to ask you another good question. We have 5 minutes, so. All right, so you know what I'm kind of hearing here is that whether we're talking about whole foods, juices, microgreens, green powders, number one importance is quality.
Yeah.
Making sure you get quality stuff. If you have the time, you have the capacity, or you're just it's in your preference or your you know what you're wanting and are willing to do, grow your own greens, right?
That's the best, right? I teach good, better, best, right? Yeah.
So
and you guys have the option what you want to do.
From there, juicing your own greens. If you have so much, you have abundance, juicing your own high quality greens, you know exactly what's going into them, the quality of the soil, building your soil with compost, all that stuff. From there, maybe going into you know, high quality organics, buying from someone else, talking to the farmers.
Yeah, go into the farmers directly, ask them what they're adding to the soil, what kind of trace minerals are adding to the soil. If they say rock dust, then you know that they're on a good path, but most of them don't. Mm-hmm. Ask them when they harvested. If you're at the farmer's market, hey, when did you harvest these greens? Oh, we harvested them 2 weeks ago Tuesday. Yeah. They'll buy those, man. Try to find the guy that I woke up at 6 a.m. this morning and cut them at the 6 a.m. and now we have them right here. Mm-hmm. Those are good ones to buy.
And then we got wild greens, pretty much the same thing. It's learning about wild greens. Do you have any good wild greens video?
Actually, yeah, I have one really good wild greens video with a lady named Katrina Blair. And I'd recommend, you should put a link down below.
I'll put that below too.
And yeah, I would recommend if you want to get into wild greens, which, you know, in my opinion are better than store-bought organic greens as long as you get a clean supply. She lists the top 13 wild greens that'll be anywhere where man has disturbed the soil. And if you watch my video and buy through the link, she'll send you the seeds for those 13 wild greens. So you could grow those in your garden because they are absolutely the easiest garden to grow because they're weeds. You throw them out,
go deep, right?
And then they're just going to pull up the nutrition. They're going to be wild strains that are going to be more nutritious than, you know, hybridized lettuces from the store and whatnot. And more importantly, you'll get to realize and see how they grow, how the plant grows, and you'll know each and every one through their different stages of life. So when you're out in the wild, you'll be able to wild harvest these greens at all stages, and you'll know and you have an intimate connection with the plants, and you'll know what they are so that you won't poison yourself by eating something you don't know what it is. And yeah, don't eat any wild foods unless you're 110% sure you know that it's edible, seriously.
And then after that, we got the juice powders, which seems like if they're good quality, if you can find out that they're good quality.
And that's another big question we're not even covering today.
Exactly, that's totally more to it, but they can have their place too. So
they can have a place, right, that's it. Like, I wouldn't make my life out of green powders, but yeah, in a pinch, and even when I'm home, I'll make smoothies and I'll throw some green powder in for extra insurance. You know, I mean, I already grow good quality stuff, but sometimes I don't grow everything. Like, I really want to get into growing more wheatgrass and barley grass, and I'm too lazy because I have a whole outside garden, so I feature kale and collards and cruciferous vegetables and ashataba and Egyptian spinach and all these crazy things, but I don't grow wheatgrass, so I just get some wheatgrass powder to fill in, some barley grass powder to fill in to ensure I'm getting all the different varieties of greens that are out there. And that's the other thing I really want to encourage people, Chris, is get all the different varieties. And if that means you got to fill in with some green powder sometimes, hey, I don't think that's the biggest thing, and you're still doing way better than the average American that are not including enough greens in their diet. You know, my goal every day is to include 2 pounds of greens a day in my diet, and that might sound a lot to you guys, but take it like this. If you juice 1 pound of greens through a good juicer, you're gonna get about 1 cup of juice.
That's awesome.
And that's not even a lot of juice to drink.
All right, so yeah, it really does sound like all of them have a great part in your life, you know, and that looking after the quality, just enjoying the greens you enjoy the most, maybe. That's something I wanted to kind of ask you. You know, sometimes when you're looking at wild greens, you know, sometimes they can be really bitter, they can be really strong, or you might eat 2 or 3 and be like, ugh, with the flavor. Would you say better to have a little bit of wild greens or to have a big salad that's more tasty to you?
So here's the thing, Chris. Here's what I do sometimes. Sometimes when I'm harvesting wild greens, I'll have like a big head of romaine lettuce, like as my base of my salad, and then like I'll pick wild greens to add to it so that, you know, I'll have a few bitter tastes, but I'll have a lot of nice crunchy romaine that's mild. So you can get the best of both worlds. You could just, but see, the thing is, most people eat romaine and no wild greens, or you eat all wild greens and no romaine. Just have a lot of romaine and have, you know, a couple handfuls of wild greens mixed in so it's not that strong.
I want it all. I want it all.
I want it now.
I want it now. Thank you so much, John.
All right, brother.
Awesome video, man.
Thanks so much, Chris.
Check out John below and tune in for some more videos from Woodstock. Much love.
John Kohler. Juices, powders, greens, what's best?
Go through the years of the Woodstock Fruit Festival as seen through the eyes of Chris Kendall. Also, don't forget to click for your free ebooks.
Excited to announce my new iPhone app, free with 101 frickin' awesome recipes, Terry retreat treats, food combining charts, shopping carts, and more.
Dude, is your car held together with chewing gum?
Duct tape. You making fun of me, John?
Better yet, man.
You making fun of me?
Attention on camera.
Well, that's perfect.
Attention